Whether you're a brand new player to 14 or perhaps a returning veteran player, you are probably interested in figuring out what does Final Fantasy XIV actually have to offer you in terms of content. After all, why buy something, or even especially your time, why waste your time into even downloading a game if it doesn't have content that appeals to you? In this video, I'm going to be taking the bull by the horns and I'm going to try and do a whirlwind tour of most of the systems in 14 and the sorts of activities that you can expect to try when you're playing 14. The problem is I can't really dive into each of these topics in depth because this video is simply a teaser video, or rather an overview of each of these topics. Each of these topics in and of themselves are very expansive and really does have its own dedicated sub-community in 14 related to it. Such as if I rattle off extreme trials. There were 7 of those in Shadowbringers, and I know many people that almost exclusively did Extreme Trials as their combat content, or Savage Raiding, where many people have actually bought skips for the story and proceeded to just do Savage Raiding and raid log each week with their static. Or what about Housing, where a single commission from our best and brightest can cost hundreds of millions of gil, if you can even manage to find a commission booking time with them within the next 6 months, because some of them are booked up to high heaven. The point of all of that is this video doesn't really do each topic justice, and that's one reason why I was scared to do this video. It's ultimately rather showing you the range of options available. Each point has its own community and its own extremely talented community experts. Enough of that, let's get into the content. So the first thing is that Final Fantasy XIV is a game with a very solid storyline. This reputation definitely precedes the game. It is recommended that players enjoy the main story questline, which is currently very much interwoven into combat, so you are going to inherently be doing a lot of combat through that. You're actively fighting against XYZ, trying to avoid spoilers here. Sometimes, to be blunt, you need to really ram your cumbuncle up their backside to teach them a lesson. As you're progressing through the MSQ, you're going to be navigated through many various in-game systems and actually be able to hit max level on one job for sure if you focus on that through your MSQ journey. The MSQ is actually really quite amazing. Truthfully, it is. But I think that we have kind of blown this out of proportion as a community to the point where people are saying 14 isn't an MMORPG, but rather an RPG MMO, which I am going to disagree with. Gasps in the background. But why I say that is because the rest of 14 systems are extremely potent and stand on their own merit. We don't need to explain this with a story to enjoy raiding. We have some of the most talented raiders we've ever seen in gaming in general in 14 right now doing ultimate raids, and a lot of them bought a story skip because the raids really do stand on their own 2 feet. Just as one of the many examples, there's examples for housing, crafting. But I mentioned raids, so let's get that as our next topic, which are raids. And this can easily in my opinion, be broken down into 4-ish difficulties. First of all, you have extreme trials, which in and of itself are certainly a challenge for most players. Most players will not actually complete them successfully, and I know many who have actively avoided running current up-to-date extreme trials, such as right now would be Diamond Weapon, or a few months ago it was Seed of Sacrifice X, and people avoided that because they can be very difficult. Like Seed of Sacrifice Extreme on day 1 Pog with Pugs, it was honestly, I found it a fun challenge, and I even made a video on it because I liked that fight so much. So it's actually pretty challenging and fun. But then you have challenge relic dungeons. I'm not sure what I should properly call these, but these are things like Baldesion's Arsenal for Eureka Stormblood Relic. Then you have Diluvium Reginae Savage, which are going to be for Shadowbringers Relic. And these are massively large-scale dungeons that can be super severely punishing, and I'm not just saying that for fun. Like, dying in Baldesion Arsenal can be very costly to you and set you back literally levels. But I've been debating putting these over or equal to Savage Raids, because Savage Raids, if you die, that's not too hard to recover from. You literally just wipe, you try it again. But the level of coordination and punishment for failure of Baldesion's Arsenal or Diluvium Reginae Savage is pretty steep. But that's the content type that they were really trying to be from design point. Next up is going to be Savage Raiding, which is one of the hallmark features of 14 and one of the most prominent, most very public parts of 14. Most players won't even clear a tier, to be honest, and actually most even won't even clear the first fight of a tier, which is always the easiest fight, generally speaking easiest. But this tier in particular, I know many people have been hard stuck at E11S progression because it's an extremely steep DPS check where most people are now only just now getting past it because they severely overgear it and have the echo to boost their DPS. Minimum item level, no echo, E11S to me is still still impressive today. But if we pull up raid clear data, we can really see that the best North American data center only had 10% of players clear Shiva Savage. Aether represent? Kind of, sort of, really kind of embarrassing. If I'm not lying, it's kind of embarrassing. But I'm gonna pull up this other chart because I'm on Gilgamesh, and Gilgamesh represent. I love my server. We're at least somewhere here. Eventually does get us into ultimate raids, which are the hardest form of combat content in 14. These are raids that are honestly going to push players to their absolute limit, and most people will never even unlock them, let alone try them, let alone get through the first phase, let alone clear. This is very fast paced, and how to say it, it's a relentlessly fast pace that throws mechanics at you this way, that way, and DPS checks galore. It is definitely tough. And I'm still actually kind of sad because I want to enter the Epic of Alexander myself, and oh my god, the struggle to find a group is real. Actually makes me really sad because, oh my god, I want to clear T. Let's talk about challenge dungeons in 14. In 14, we have difficult multi-floored dungeons. We call this the quote-unquote deep dungeons. Think Torghast, but actually good and enjoyable, and actually gives rewards to players and provides actual difficulty to solo. I know, right? What a novel idea. This is going to be Palace of the Dead or Heaven on High. Palace of the Dead, being soloed from floor 1 to 200, still awards you with the single most badass title in the game. Actually, I'm going to make this a title. I need a timestamp. So soloing Palace of the Dead floor 1 to 200 will award you with the Necromancer title. Anyone with this title stands out. It is so insanely difficult to get. If you have this title, my eyes will see you, and I will actively say, oh shit, in real life. And this actually shocks me to see more than like the Perfect Legends. It's like at this point we've seen so many of the Perfect Legends, and it's just like, then there's the whole controversy, did they buy blah 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 blah. But the Necromancer title, every time I see it, I will say, oh shit, this person knows what they're doing. So yeah, you want a challenge, solo Heaven on High and Palace of the Dead, and they are going to give you rewards. Next up is Blue Mage. One thing 14 does above and beyond most other games like World of Warcraft is, like, you think of World of Warcraft with time walking, and it's just like it continues in 14 to reintroduce and reinvent older content. Content from A Realm Reborn actually is seen and very often comes back up as something that you can actually get current, modern rewards that you want from that content. And Blue Mage as a whole is truly the love letter to this idea, basically a class designed around this. Blue Mage is a class that you build the skills however you want, that you acquire from enemies in open world raids, dungeons, and other combat content, and then you gear yourself up, or kit yourself out rather, with the skills to be a healer, tank, DPS, or some strange hybrid. Do whatever you want. You are given a tabula rasa, have fun. But then you can take this Blue Mage that you craft, and then you can absolutely devastate older content and take on challenges like an all Blue Mage party beating literal raids, which is crazy. And there are certainly a ton of rewards and reasons to do Blue Mage content, and it is also, in my opinion, super fun. Next up is going to be hunts and open world content. Hunts come in a ton of flavors. You can do mini hunts where you go to a hunt board and get targets to go and pick off, roaming the open world and come back. This is fantastically fun, and I know a lot of people really do genuinely enjoy this. Next up, there are big hunt trains, which actually on Aether we have an entire Discord server based around it. And hunt trains have become actually one of my favorite activities in 14, especially when we're talking about capping my tomestones each week. They are very quick, they are useful, they are very organized. Oh my god, guys, I cannot emphasize the level of dedication and passion in Aether hunts. Like, you have so many dedicated, talented, organized people, and it literally runs so fast. It'll be like, we start on Gilgamesh, bam 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 bam, okay, we go to Fairy, bam 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 bam, Siren, bam 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 bam, Adventua, bam 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 bam, and it's just like, by that time you're gonna cap out your tomestones, and you're gonna have a lot of stuff. Like, if you want to upgrade your tomestone gear from 520 to 530 currently in this patch, you can buy the material to do that through that. And so hunt train, oh my god, I have nothing but great things to say about the hunt train community. It's so good. But beyond that, you have open world content like Fates, which are like mini activities that you can do in the open world, which can let you really get some sweet rewards with bisexual gemstones. It's really good. Or beast tribes, which allow you to connect with some of the beast races for some extremely good custom rewards like glamour pieces, mounts, minions, and so much more, emotes even. Also, some of these can be extremely valuable for leveling jobs. Anyone from Heaven's Ward era remember Moogles for leveling crafters gatherers? Oh yeah. Love the Namazu, by the way, too. And you should actually do the Namazu for the bottom belt. So sightseeing logs. Let's talk about sightseeing logs, which reward you with the sightseeing log when you wander and view the world. And 14 gives you some crazy lore with this. Something something Gabu statue to honor those we lost in 1.0. Fourth wall is currently quaking in their boots. Now we're going to pivot to housing and tongue-in-cheek, kind of, but also kind of serious. Housing is probably harder content than Savage Raiding. Housing is an absolutely elaborate system beyond what anyone would expect. Like, yeah, sure, it's really cute and fluffy when you take like a few steps in, but as soon as you take that one extra step in, woof, you have gone over a cliff and you're doomed. And yeah, sure, you can approach it and be cute and fuzzy, but have you yet seen people literally blueprint and use actual housing design tools to approach a house in 14? Maybe not, but it is out there. There's definitely a lot of community around that. And have you seen them now use glitches, pivot items, stack items to float them, connect and disconnect items, and arrange them to take different forms and shapes? And like, maybe the back of this item is going to be that. Oh, wait, we want the side of this box because this has little ivory thing that can like make a different shape with this other thing. It's crazy. Not to mention, housing items has an incredibly large range of options that is constantly added to by the developers, meaning you can really get into a sea of items, literally just buried under the options. You might not even think of an option that's in front of you, but it's like, oh, we already have like 20 items for that. Some of these items, though, are also extremely rare and very lucrative. They can, like, showcase achievements, which is huge. It is definitely a form of self-expression and wild what you can achieve. Like, some of them are rewards for difficult content, like Heaven on High, the challenge dungeon that I spoke about earlier. Making it to the end of that, you can optionally buy a housing item for that. Then you can make this into pretty much anything you can think of the house. If you want a rainy cafe at night, we have ways to do that. We have literally got some of our housing experts to make like rainy windows, which is brilliant. It's like you combine a shower head with the, the moonlit Tsukiyomi like Phasm Escape. It's like a TV, and then you have like a window, but you need to adjust it just the right length that you get the window covering it, but you can still see the Phasm Escape with the moonlit. But then you kind of twerk the shower around. It's very doable, but this is why I'm saying it's involved. And then you can do beaches, like you can make a synthetic beach. You can do force hidden getaways, seen that too, and you are really given so much free reign to do what you want. And when you are educated on the ways to manipulate objects and glitch them at whim, you really have a ton of ability to express yourself. And truly, I have to say, housing is one of the most impressive systems in all of 14. And that's why I've made so much videos on it, because I'm like, oh my god, this is so crazy. But that's not even really getting into the fact that if you have a large on Gilgamesh, there's a good chance that someone looking for a house would probably hit you with their car just to get that plot. Housing Savage is real. Oh, and if you thought I was joking, just look below at the comments of this video when I said that I have 2 largest on Gilgamesh. And excuse you, I worked on the Housing Savage Ultimate Guides. I worked for these houses. But oh yeah, I'm not done yet. Housing also has housing-specific activities like submarines, airships, gardening, heck, even indoor gardening exists. Yeah, really. Chocobo stables and much more. How else do you think you were going to get Thavenarian onions? Beating a mob? Now you need to raise that in a garden. Then you can level up your chocobos, which you can then take in combat. And really, it's quite an elaborate system with a lot of interplay, which I really love. And houses come in forms of apartments, personal FC rooms, small, medium, large houses, and there are a ton of options. And yeah, you can spread them out. I have 2 larges right now. I have 1 apartment, and then I can also get an FC room, but I haven't gotten that yet because I do not have the guild to furnish that too. What about custom music through orchestrion scrolls? Oh yeah, you can collect literally music, and you get these scrolls on your character and can literally listen to music in your houses and customize it. You literally can make a playlist or a shuffle and like show off what you have. Or what about to show off achievements for raid clears and make an art gallery from them like me? And yeah, I freaking love it. It's a fun way of me to express how I love extreme trials in the game for sure. And so yeah, housing, badass. It is so good. Next up is the Glamour system, which is also known as Transmog for anyone coming from World of Warcraft. This is another system that, yeah, you might think it's cutesy, but we have some seriously big names in our community built purely off of the Glamour system and purely off of appearance modification in 14. The entire G-Pose communities here in 14 really truly do have their own superstars that are extremely notable names. And to say the least, self-expression in 14 is considered not only desirable, but mandatory. And in 14, it is also a fully dyeable and customizable sets of appearances that you can clip off that part of it, clip that other part. Oh wait, this hat makes it so that the back looks like different. Or what if you change your posture and pose? And we also have a range of appearances that can go from literally Dark Souls looking stuff all the way to high fantasy to a Rothgar in a pink scarf with pink Nyan cat ears and a pink school skirt. Yeah, you can basically do a lot in 14 with the Glamour system. Let's open just a teeny crack of crafting and gathering. These are systems that are taken by many 14 players as like just as seriously as combat jobs, if I'm being honest, or more seriously for a lot. This allows players to collect and then turn items that they obtained into various other items. I'm gonna explain it a bit more because that sounds dumb. This goes all the way from raid consumables to housing items to custom glamour pieces that are highly lucrative. Oh my god. During a patch, when a patch drops, it's just like you will literally see people dump tons of gil into these crafted items just so that they can wear it while they AFK and limsalom. I am not even joking, and people actually get very cutthroat over it. It's just like, I want this rare material so I can craft this, so I can AFK and limbs and look cool. Yeah, thank your crafter for that, because a good chance for some of the recipes is that they actually needed special recipe books to get that. This even goes to minions, bardings for your chocobos, even to pentamelded raid gear, which at the first initial phase of release of a raid tier, pentamelded raid gear from crafters is the best gear that you can be going into that with. And yeah, the pentamelded gear, that is its own video for sure. But heck, they honestly even have their own relic lines for super shiny tools that I personally still need to do because those are really cool. Like a shiny saw or a shiny like alchemist thing, so cool. Or what about custom activities like Ishgard Restoration or the Ishgardian Fleet activities, Fiat activities? Someone's going to correct me in the comments, I can't pronounce it, F-E-T-E activities, and they are basically like special crafter gatherer activities like fates in the open world. Or what about diadem to collect materials? Or what about timed nodes for premium materials? My English is falling off of a bridge right now. And there are also extremely challenging crafts to do to test your actual skill and rotation ability to adapt, and yeah, honestly, these do take a lot of skill to pull off and are very challenging. Ishgardian Restoration also even had competitive aspects to it with leaderboards and titles involved in it, like Beta of the Firmament or Saint of the Firmament. I mean, you can tell who really won in that. Or fishing with its literal day, night, and weather patterns, and it's really such an in-depth system. We literally even have ocean fishing ventures where you all get on a boat with a bunch of other fishers and you're like thrown out to sea, and you're basically trying to get super rare fish. You do a score and try and get as high of a score as you can, and you can get rare mounts and minions from that. Like, the level of depth in just that alone is insane. And really, in 14, crafting and gathering is not just some superficial annoying thing like in World of Warcraft. These are actual systems that are really baked into the game. Now let's talk about PvP. PvP in 14 isn't perfect. No, you're right, it's not perfect. But it is there, and it does offer some extremely amazing rewards. Like, if I see you in this armor, and I've seen some people in it, very rare, but I have, I know, though, if you're in this, that you absolutely decimated and dumped on your opponents in PvP quite a bit, and it genuinely impresses me. Like, if I, how to say it, it's really a similar feeling to the Necromancer title. Although, yeah, Necromancer title is gonna shock me more because it is just that rare. Like, if you are looking to have the biggest D in Limsa, it's not the perfect legend title, it is Necromancer title. But then you see this armor is like, damn. This player is absolutely mind-boggling. So if you really want to stand out to like a veteran player, Necromancer title, this armor, and it's like, oh shit, this person knows what they're doing. PvP really comes in many flavors, from large-scale PvP like 72 man in the entire instance, 3 different party, 24 player per party alliances fighting over objectives, to smaller scale 4 versus 4s, and we even have duels in 14, which are actually, oddly enough, not even spoken about as much in PvP, which is already not spoken about much, so you basically don't hear about, yeah, you can literally duel 1v1 me, bro, in 14. We also have Rival Wings, which is another large-scale map with objectives with mecha pilots, mecha robots that you pilot, and ultimately, yeah, PvP in 14 isn't as lively as you could have hoped, but I actually think that given enough player-based attention to it, it really could catch on. I think it's a system that has a lot to it right now, and really, all we really need is more eyes on it. I think it could take off. Now let's talk about Gold Saucer briefly. I don't even know what to really describe it as other than like a ton of mini games. But that's not even correct, because you then realize when you get deeper into the Gold Saucer that it has many in-depth, elaborate games like Triple Triad, literally Mahjong, Chocobo Racing, and probably the single most underrated feature of 14, which is Lords of Verminion, where you literally duel your minions against other minions and you can like spawn it. It's like a literal MOBA game in 14. No one talks about, which I think is a damn shame. Ultimately, you like collect through these different games MGP, which is a special currency used to purchase everything from custom glamours to rare mounts to various appearance-altering items like parasols, angel wings, and much, much more. And then you can also take part in a weekly lottery draw. You can do fashion report, where you do custom glamour appearances to earn MGP, which community members actually go out of their way to do like a fashion report, and it's really kind of crazy to see. Also, you can participate in various tournaments and try and win that. And Gold Saucer, in my opinion, is easily the absolute #1 underrated feature of 14. It is a gem in the rough alongside PvP. There are communities dedicated purely to Gold Saucer, which is honestly super cool to me, but it's just like we don't see enough people talking about it. Like, we have the communities there, it is really fun, but it's just like no one's talking. I want to talk about how 14 really provides you the tools to socialize. We have free companies, which are literally guilds from World of Warcraft for those coming from WoW, but we also have these expanded to other systems like the housing system, where you can have a free company house to meet friends, do meetings, whatever. Actually, whatever, more like perks like easy market board access, easy access, and then easy mailbox access, easy access, and then a chocobo stable to train chocobos of your free company members. You have buffs to increase the acquisition of whatever you choose. Like today, as I'm writing the script, I have a Gold Saucer MGP buff for my free company to boost MGP acquisition in Gold Saucer by 10%. People farming MGP actually really love that right now, especially during the event. But other means to socialize include party finders to find groups, as well as we have cross data center travel now coming up with patch 5.58, and then we also have already had the ability to travel on your own data center to other servers, so you can cross all of those. You also have link shells that you can talk to players on not only your own server, which are normal link shells, but also you can talk to people on other servers on your data center through cross-world link shells. Also have fellowships to coordinate large groups of players. Honestly, communication is huge in 14, and I like that link shells are featured that allows you to talk cross-world or on the same server, which really you are gonna, for the record, get both, and it lets you really expand your circle of contacts well beyond your guild you're in. It's just like you might be in guild A, but you have friends in guild B, C, Z, whatever, and it's just like you can still keep that really close click contact. Like, I've had no issue really being a solo FC in the past until I recently began building my own FC, the FX because explicitly of these strong communication tools. It's like I could do my own FC, but I can still talk to people in all the various FCs in Gilgamesh. Now let's talk about Relic Hunting. And did you really think me, as someone who is a Relic Hunter, who will possibly be able to miss this? Oh, hell no. So relics are weapons and armor that have a very distinct appearance to them. They look very different from anything else we have in game, and they are they are, to be blunt, obtained through arduous amounts of grind, and ever since Stormblood and really Shadowbringers, a certain level of skill is involved. Like, if you are constantly dying in Eureka, you are going to de-level and ultimately probably quit. Both Stormblood's Eurekan content as well as Shadowbringers' Bojan content have systems in place that punish failure. Actually, Eureka, as you probably guessed from before, was notorious for this, where if you weren't decently confident, you'd be absolutely punted in the face by the content and then punted out. Lose all of your levels and be kind of screwed, if I'm quite honest. You could catch up, absolutely, if you died, but at the same point in time, if you weren't a skilled player and you were constantly dying, you basically couldn't do the content, which make Stormblood relics, in my opinion, like my armors, like my tank armor that you see me all the time in, or weapons, still to this day pretty baller. But this lands you with some sweet glamour at the end of any relic grind, and currently the Shadowbringers relics are the best in slot weapons that you can have until Endwalker releases for weapons. But more than that, there is challenging content in it that is very appealing, like Baldesion's Arsenal, and like Delirium Rage and A Savage, where they have a ton of their own mechanics and systems, like each in, how to say it, Eureka had elemental wheels and logos actions that you could combine together, and then Boja has essences and actions to customize your kit and do pretty obscene damage. Like, the amount of damage I can pump as a white mage with the right essences and actions is insane. It's actually kind of vulgar. And then you can finally collect all of the relic weapons, which is really kind of baller. It looks really cool, and it's nice to have a full set of them and change at whim. Now, I do actually think that this is a point worth talking about. A lot of people will disagree, but I know playing different MMORPGs that a lot of people love leveling alt jobs or alt classes. In 14, one character can play every single crafter, gatherer, and every single combat job in this game on that same character, no restrictions. Each of them really also features its own story, and since it's all on the same character, thankfully you don't need to worry about stuff like running the MSQ a bazillion times on alts like WoW. As much as I loved leveling in Warlords of Draenor with Azeroth Autopilot, I really think that I was starting to feel aware on my sanity around the 5th alt. No offense. So alt levelers and ultaholics rejoice. Honestly, 14 has so many systems to support you, and as someone who capped everything to 80 around the first month of Shadowbringers release, honestly, it is pretty sweet, the systems that help facilitate this. Oh, fetch me my guild servants. The retainer system. What about in 14 literally having servants do your bidding and actually generate a ton of gil, as I've covered in my gil making guide series? Oh yeah, retainers are lit AF fam. You can level them, gear them up, and literally have them deliver money right to you. It's honestly a freaking sweet system to capitalize on, and so if you're interested in some sweet loot, definitely check that out. It is very much worth your time. Now, I think that this deserves its own point, which is talking about collecting and really what do you call it, completionism in 14. There are so many things to collect and complete that I'm not even going to try and list them all. There are going to be things I miss on this list. But to give you a taste, you have mounts, minions, relics, titles, capping jobs, sightseeing logs, triple triad cards, achievements, crafting log, gathering log, fishing log, ocean fishing included, housing items, gardening, orchestrion scrolls with music, blue mage spells, and blue mage custom challenges, clearing all the past dungeons, trials, extreme trials, savage raids, ultimates, beast tribes. And yeah, there is just a ton of content for completionists to do, no doubt. Now that really brings us to the outro of the video, and because this video is already over 25 minutes long, I'm gonna cut it short. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope that you found content that you like in 14.